So this question I asked in the poll about whether or not the ABPI code asks you to put indications on your promotional material is a really interesting one for me because it arose recently, and an experienced colleague, another signatory, and I have slightly different opinions on this, and this to me is interesting because it shows you how the code is not always black and white but can be very open to interpretation. And really, between my colleague and I, neither of us were right and neither of us were wrong, and that's just compliance for you at times. So there is no mention in the ABPI code beyond the clause 12 provisions around prescribing information for you to have your indications stated separately. So under the code itself, if you've got your indication and your prescribing information, it would seem to be meeting all requirements. And the MHRA Blue Guide has an Appendix 4 which is covering the particulars that need to be included in adverts for prescribers, and it says that one or more therapeutic indications for the product consistent with its licence should be included in adverts for people who are prescribers. So does this mention of indication only in PI prescribing information meet the Blue Guide and the MHRA requirements? Well, on the face of it, given the lack of specific direction in the code and the fact that in the Blue Guide this Appendix 4 is basically listing your Clause 12 prescribing info PI requirements, then yes. However, there is MHRA guidance on the standards that they are looking for when they are vetting materials. And in that, they state that to get it right the first time, they expect to see an indication stated clearly and prominently at the outset, so that claims are set in clear context. So this takes things a little bit further, and it kind of hints at the MHRA's own interpretation of the correct application of the legislative requirements. And these days, with PI being provided usually by hyperlink and QR code, I'm not so sure now that having your indication just in the PI would be considered clear and prominent now if you're having to sort of scan or click to get there. Personally, I also think that if you're going to be promoting something anyway, you may as well tell your clinician what the drug is for. That's usually good to be included as part of promotion. So generally, although the ABPI code is not requiring it, I would default to inclusion of a prominent statement of the indication, or at least one of the indications that is relevant, prominently from the outset, unless there was a defensibly good reason not to include it. So this is another occasion where, again, my experience would lead me to do something different and beyond what the ABPI code actually asks for, and these are my reasons why. So it'd be really interesting to know, what do you lot generally do?